If you, like me, are the type of musician who has to carry gear to gigs and rehearsals, you are probably intimately familiar, as am I, with the never-ending wellspring of misery that is the folding wire stand. My experience with folding wire music stands has generally been that they are incapable of holding up so much as even an Arbin book, and if you so much as look at one the wrong way, it tends to teeter and fall over. Many musicians have so much frustration with these folding wire stands that they resort to the utter opposite end of the spectrum. They throw out all sense of portability just for sturdiness, and they go for something like a Manhasset music stand. But what if I told you there is some middle ground between the two? There is, for instance, the Peak music stand. My family happens to own several, and they are not terribly portable, but they are quite sturdy. But the stand that we are talking about today was sent to me by a company that I think is doing some really ingenious work, and it lies right in the middle where I think you get enough sturdiness and enough practicality for daily driving, but you get really incredible portability. Today we are discussing the KraftGeek Bravo music stand. Let's get into it. How's it going, everybody? It's your host Sam here, as per usual, from the Samuel Plays Brass channel, coming back at you at long last with another video. I really apologize for how slow things have been here on YouTube. That's because they've not been slow off YouTube, let's put it that way. I feel like this happens every spring on the channel to some extent, but perhaps to a greater extent this year. This is the spring that I finally graduate from Gonzaga University, and it is a bit of a mad dash to the finish, as well as figuring out what's next in life, so bear with me. There might not be a whole lot of videos coming out until, let's say, end of May or June, but if you would stick with me, stay subscribed if you are already, and when these videos do come out, just give them a little bit of your attention and support. That would be greatly appreciated moving forward. Thank you all so much. And at this point, let's once again, at long last, get into a long overdue video that kind of got stuck coming down the pipes of my backlog. I also want to mention that the KraftGeek team have generously provided you, my viewers, with a coupon code for 15% off of your KraftGeek purchase. You can go to the first link in my description and use the coupon code SamuelPlaysBrass, SamuelPlaysBrass, no spaces, no nothing else. Just enter that code and you automatically get 15% off of your purchase. Thank you, KraftGeek, for making this offer possible. Back in days of yore, when I first got my package from KraftGeek Music, I took some B-roll of what they sent me, and I figure best place to start in this video is to just look at that footage and go from there. The KraftGeek team was nice enough to not only send me the stand itself, but all of the other bells and whistles that they have for it on their website. This includes a gig bag that you can stow the stand and other parts in, as well as their attachable LumiLight and FlexyMount phone or iPad holder. You'll notice here we are unboxing the stand itself as well as the bag, which came packaged separately. It's got a backpack strap in case you want to use that. You'll see here we are indeed unboxing the LumiLight and the FlexyMount there, and we'll look at each of these parts separately. Obviously, each person's individual music equipment needs will vary, but if you're a pit musician or you play in poorly lit spaces or you play with strobe lights overhead, which always throws me off on the rare occasion that I have to, then the LumiLight is really handy to have around, especially since it does just screw right onto the stand or fit right in the gig bag. And the phone holder is also really useful if you like to have a tuner or a metronome or something else on a screen while you've already got music sitting on the main desk of the stand. Anyway, we'll go over those in more detail in a bit. Here I am doing my first little demo of the KraftGeek stand. Right out of the gate, I was really impressed at how easy it was to set this thing up. Obviously, with anything this portable that turns into a full-size music stand, there are going to be a lot of moving parts, but these moving parts are really straightforward to operate. Everything slides or clicks or screws into place really easily. Here I am unfolding the main desk of the stand as well as the supports. We'll see these clips here. You can widen that midsection depending on how much music you want to have on your stand. And at this point, I'll be attaching the LumiLight to the stand, and I'll give a quick demo of that. This one, you just screw on top of the stand. You back that top screw collar out, and then you fit it on top like that. Really easy to work once again. This stand is really versatile as well. You'll see me bringing it up using that telescopic centerpiece there. At full height, it is taller than I am, which is a little embarrassing for me, but very impressive for it. Next, you'll see me screwing the FlexyMount phone or tablet holder right onto the front of the stand there, just under the main tray. I do think the KraftGeek team has made a really ingenious product here. Considering how collapsible it is really impressive that it can be used by musicians of all heights, I think. I'm not very tall, obviously, so I don't know how effective the max height is, but I think it's good. Here I am actually putting some music on to the stand. Since it doesn't have a back to it, sometimes I do prefer to actually put something like an acrylic sheet onto the stand, like this. This is something that I put on top of my music at outdoor gigs, but you can put it on this stand so that you do have a back to work with. And here you'll see a couple of tests of the LumiLight in mild to very dark conditions. And the light itself ranges from bright to blindingly bright, if that's how bright you happen to need it, but it's got a couple of settings you can toggle between. The one troublesome thing I found with the stand is that with pages larger than 8.5 by 11 that are taped together, sometimes you can't clip both sides down. You might have to live with just one being clipped, but even that is better than most wire stands, and two 8.5 by 11s fit great. This FlexyMount is also really handy. I thought it was just for phones, but I realized it will actually expand enough to hold most tablets, like your iPad. I know a lot of people read their music on an iPad, but you can have two iPads, I guess, one on the main tray and one mounted just below it if you want. I also figured we'd take a look at the actual KraftGeek website and take a look at some of the features and specs that they list on there. You'll see that the stand alone retails for $89.99, as well as the package for the what they call the solo gig, or the stand with the bag, which is $116.99, and what they call the concerto combo, which is the stand and all of the bells and whistles, which they were kind enough to send me. That is valued at $149.99. It also comes in two colors. You can get it in either black or platinum. I personally preferred the look of the black stand, although both are pretty sleek. We'll take a look at some of the specs down here. The height of this stand, when fully assembled and splayed out, can range from just about 2.5 feet tall to, once again, taller than me, 5'6". I am a humbling 5'4", so yes, it does extend above my head at max height. And the maximum height of the actual stand desk itself is just over 4 feet when fully extended. The weight of the stand itself is only about 2.5 pounds, but it's able to actually hold more than double of that. But all of those specs, albeit impressive, aside, I think the best thing to the stand's credit is just how low of a profile it keeps when you do collapse it down, at which point it's 17.24 inches by 1.62 inches by 2.75 inches. That is just about as portable, maybe a tiny bit larger than your typical folding wire stand, but a lot sturdier in return. And also not to be overlooked on the KraftGeek website is the fact that you get free shipping on orders of over 29 bucks, and all products are warranted for a year, so if you believe that your product is defective within a year of purchase, you can let the KraftGeek support team know and they will take appropriate action to handle the situation. And just for fun, we're gonna do this once again a little bit more off the cuff and perhaps in a little bit more detail, since I can actually show you certain features that I don't think I adequately covered in the B-roll. But here we are with the stand once again. We're just going to fold the main tray back. If we want to secure it a little bit more firmly, there's a knob on the side that you can twist to your liking. This is one of the most ingenious features. I've really struggled with the legs on folding wire stands in the past, and this makes it super easy. We have this little screw wheel here that you unlock, and the legs come right out. They fit into place. Make sure you do lock them by turning that crank the other way. And then, once again, you extend the telescopic barrel however much you like. It does get pretty tall, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Here is the main desk of the stand. Then we've got these two parts that fit into place. We've once again got our clips. We've once again got some width-wise adjustability, depending on how much music you want to put on. And to take it down, you just do all that in reverse order. So we're going to push the barrel back into place. Once again, my favorite feature, you unlock the legs, then you bring them back up. You do kind of have to clamp them together a little bit, but then you lock them in place. And boom, setup and takedown is super easy with this thing. I wish I had this in all my years of youth symphony and bringing along a wire stand. There are a number of things I think that really set the KraftGeek stand apart from its competitors in the industry. First of all, it far and away outperforms any of your typical wire folding music stands, as I've spoken about at length. Those really are a hassle to deal with, and sure, they might collapse down to be a little bit smaller than this, but not much, and the benefit structurally that the KraftGeek provides over any of those really makes that small amount of extra volume worth it, in my opinion. And honestly, of course, like I said, a full-size non-portable stand like a Manhasset is going to be sturdier and capable of bearing more load than the KraftGeek. But the KraftGeek is able to hold up things like your Arbin book or your spiral bound or your binders where you keep all of your warm-up routines in. And so I think it is plenty good enough for any general music application. I can't think of any time where I would put more than 5.5 pounds on a music stand. So it does all of that perfectly adequately. It doesn't tip over nearly as easily as your typical wire stand. And best of all, it fits in this size of package. I know I'm not a large guy, but this really is a compact sort of package, and one that is very easy to take around with you, especially if you use the backpack strap that it comes with. And this really is, I think, as a result, a product that is well worth considering. And of course, once more, I will mention that the KraftGeek team has allowed you to use code SamuelPlaysBrass at checkout for 15% off of your KraftGeek order if any of the 4 separate products in this video have any merit to you. With that, I really appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you so much to the KraftGeek team once again for sending me all of these goodies. It was a lot of fun to demo them and talk about them on the channel, and I will be using them in further gigging to come. Until next time, I appreciate you sticking around, and we'll see you on the flip side. Hopefully a little bit sooner this time than last. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support the creation of bigger and better content on the Samuel Plays Brass channel, have your name featured right here, and a whole host of other perks and benefits, then please consider pledging your support at patreon.com/SamuelPlaysBrass. For now, you can find more videos in the end screen cards to my left.